Yesterday in Rome, there was the G7 meeting, and to no surprise, the G7 leaders were not able to come up with a joint statement with regards to energy and climate change. As I said, this should not come as a surprise because we've known for quite some time that the Trump administration is quite skeptical and has pledged to actually review its commitment towards COP21, the deal signed in Paris at the end of 2015. To the point that actually Trump appointed Scott Pruitt at the head of the environmental agency, and Scott Pruitt is a well-known person which is sort of denying climate change. So the statement, the lack of statement yesterday should not come as a surprise. So should we be worried about the future of humanity and climate change in general? Yes, in a sense, because obviously we need everybody on board, particularly a state like a government like the United States one. But there are also several positive signs that things are changing in spite of the Trump administration attempt to stop it. And for instance, the recent report from United Nations, which was published last week, revealed that in 2016, the world invested almost $250 billion in renewable capacity, adding 10% of capacity to the existing portfolio of renewable assets. Above all, the renewable investments represented more than 55% of the total investment which went into power capacity around the world. So it's a very good sign. Even a good sign is also the fact that actually this amount of money is actually lower than the money which has been spent on renewables in previous years, simply because renewables are becoming cheaper around the world. So that's the good news. Also, the other good news is that for 2 years now, we had the decoupling between carbon emissions and economic growth. So we now know that emission can stay flat, while at the same time economic growth can actually increase, as it happened in the last 2 years. Now, if we look also outside the United States, we know that China, for instance, has a very ambitious plan with regards to electric cars and renewables. General Motors actually estimates that by 2025, their sale in China will be represented by 75% of their sale in China will be represented by hybrid and electric cars. And in 2016, more than 50% of the photovoltaic capacity installed in the world actually went into China. So very positive news from China, likewise also from India, which has very aggressive, ambitious plan for renewables and electric cars as well. With regards to Europe, the good news this week is actually that Eurelectric, which is the trade association of the electricity industry in Europe, made a pledge, an official pledge, by which after 2020 they will not invest in coal-fired power generation any longer. So this again is another positive side. So overall, the fact that we couldn't come with the G7 couldn't come with a joint statement, it is bad news by all means. It is not a surprise because we saw that coming. At the same time, we should be moderately optimistic with regards to what the future holds for us.